Hi, everybody. It's episode 489 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It is Wednesday, December 27th, 2023. The last
December
episode
2010th.
of 2023.
You really were going to say December 2010th.
No, I started to hiccup as I was talking.
Sure.
Sure. I'm drinking soda. It was a mistake. But yeah, that's the Drew's here.
Hello.
And Walnut is here.
Yeah, my audio's working.
Yeah, it's not tinny anymore.
No.
Sound-
We started recording, and I looked at Audacity, and I'm like, wait, fuck, what is this? My heater's not on, so there shouldn't be any, background noise, and no one's down here. And so just had to mess around for the last, really, 5 minutes and figure it out.
Yeah.
My mic wire was touching something.
It is funny, almost every recording, there's, just that, section where your heater runs, where there's, that weird, backgroundy static that I have to I just do the remove noise and it clears it right out, but it's it's not the whole recording. So I have to just do a quick kind of scan through the audio track to see where it pops up.
When I moved to this back corner of the house, I had a feeling that was going to be an issue because literally on the other side of the wall is my heater and is my HVAC unit. So I knew it was going to be pretty loud because I have a vent right above me. And so you hear everything. But, this corner works better for the layout of my house. So, and I like it because I can actually have, a background and not just have people walking through it all. So it's nice.
Yeah, and look, it does not interfere with the actual audio. Like I said, it's very easy to remove that because it's consistent when it does happen.
Yeah. It's
not clicks and, banging in the background and stuff like that can be a little more complicated to actually get a filter to remove. Mm-hmm, that stuff it's just small little sample of it, run it across just the bit that has that noise and it's gone. And it's never much of the audio, so it takes 10 seconds at most.
Yeah. It's
just funny, you can tell if it's cold or not based on if you have your heater on.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, how you guys doing though? It's good holiday and everything?
Yeah, it was nice. My parents got me an UPS.
A what?
A UPS.
Oh, okay.
So I got to set that up. My brother apparently had a server that he just had sitting at home that he's been wanting to give me. So he gave that to me along with some other stuff as well. He got me a new Xbox controller after I had already bought one on Black Friday.
Oh, man.
And I guess he didn't realize I'd bought one on Black Friday, but, the color he got me is this gross... So, picture taking a white Xbox controller, grabbing a highlighter, and coloring it.
Oh, it's that, highlight yellow one?
Yeah, basically. So, now I have two controllers because I'm really bad at keeping track of controller charge, but also Xbox doesn't have rechargeable controllers. Out of the box, you need to buy a fucking attachment to it because fuck you, Microsoft. So right now they're both controlled by batteries anyway. So
I prefer that. I like being able to just replace the batteries.
Well, I like having rechargeable batteries because then I don't have to buy fucking batteries.
Yeah, well, I bought rechargeable batteries for my controllers, but if the batteries start to die, I don't have to buy a new controller. I just buy a new rechargeable battery.
Battery packs aren't hard to replace on controllers.
But it's a level of effort that I don't want to go through.
You've replaced your Joy-Con drift. It's that same level of effort.
I will never do that again.
Why?
That was a miserable fucking experience.
I enjoyed it.
I actually never did it for the Joy-Con drift either. I did it, I put the custom shells on it. And I hate dealing with ribbon cables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I took apart an Xbox controller. Those things are a bitch to put back together.
Yeah.
If you're just popping the cover off, it's not bad, but as soon as you have to move the board, the whole thing is a nightmare.
But see, the thing is, and this is why I strongly still say, fuck you, Microsoft, because capitalism, they make a rechargeable battery pack for your controllers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to spend $30 on top of the $60 that you spent on the fucking controller to get a rechargeable battery pack for your controller that doesn't charge through your controller. So if you have your controller plugged into the USB-C, no, it has its own USB-C connector on the battery itself. It's so dumb. And I'm like, this is fuck you. Like,
that doesn't bother me.
it bothers me because PlayStation has rechargeable batteries and it's the same price for their controllers.
No, their controllers are more expensive.
Are they?
Yeah, they're like $80, $70 or $80.
Yeah, but they're like forever on.
I don't know. Amazon right now they're $70.
$74.99 through PlayStation.
But like, I also didn't buy the Microsoft branded rechargeable batteries. I bought $10 rechargeable batteries, and they were
so
great.
a core through Amazon, a Xbox Core wireless gaming controller, just carbon black, is $54. It's $40 for the same color controller that I have, but that's Xbox One.
Which they're basically the same controller. Like, did they actually release a new controller for the Series S and X?
Yes. So my controller, it has a flat button and not a rounded like X button. The D-pad is all connected around, like even the middles are connected, and it's not like a flat. It's not like just a plus sign. It's like a rounded
on
button.
The Series one.
On the one that I have, the core, on both of them that I have, which is so it's not the Series XS wireless.
Oh yeah, look at that! I see what you mean with the D-pad, because I have an Xbox One controller on the shelf next to me, and it's got the T D-pad, like the middles aren't connected. I never noticed that on the controllers because I've never had them side by side.
So looking at Walmart, $54 plus $30-ish for the Microsoft branded wireless thing. So it's more expensive to have in my opinion, proper controller through Microsoft than it is to have a proper controller. It's like $10 more.
To each their own.
Bullshit.
I like having the ability to just pop batteries out.
But Microsoft can still do that, but sell their controllers with a fucking battery pack, and just be like, here, just plug it in. Like, that's what they're doing with this. Is like you have to buy a separate battery pack for a rechargeable battery pack. Why not just sell me a controller for $70 with a rechargeable battery pack in there that you just connect to your controller?
Because then they'll lose money.
Fuck you, Microsoft. Like,
I mean, that's all companies though. All companies want to make money.
But PlayStation doesn't do it.
No, they just charge $70 for the controller.
And so they're are they losing money?
Microsoft charges $80 for fucking Joy-Cons, or I'm sorry, Nintendo charges $80 for Joy-Cons, and those things fucking suck. I still can't believe that the Joy-Cons are more
It is. I've only ever bought one set of Joy-Cons, and that was when the game first launched. So
I can't believe that Joy-Cons are more expensive than the DualSense. Like, the DualSense at like 70 or 80, like, that controller does have a lot of like cool technology in it. I don't think I don't need any of that technology in my controller, but like, it's cool technology. The Joy-Cons are fucking garbage.
I mean, they should at least have definitely lowered the cost because of all the issues with drift and the fact that they can't actually fix it, so they just fix it every time it happens for free.
Yeah, but like, then you have to buy a second set if you want to use your Switch in the 8 weeks it takes to like get them repaired.
Yeah.
Or fix it yourself and void the warranty and have to always fix them yourself.
Yeah, which the only reason I fixed mine myself was because I had stickers on it and I didn't want to run the risk of...
Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally valid. I just, having taken apart one set of Joy-Cons and one Xbox controller, I have no desire to ever do that again.
But a Pro controller, a Switch Pro controller is $70. It's got a built-in battery pack. Like
that battery lasts fucking like shit though. Like, I don't know what battery they use compared to PlayStation. Like, that PlayStation controller lasts a pretty good time for like all the stupid shit it has into it. My Pro controller doesn't fucking hold a charge for anything, and it never has.
Good thing we're bringing that up.
Yeah, like I don't care about the features in the DualSense, but like, I like the DualSense. Like, it's a neat controller. It feels good to use, and like, the battery lasts a decent amount of time. It's nothing staggering, but like, it lasts. The fucking Pro controller, like, that thing dies just sitting there not being used.
Yeah.
And at least, so I think the reason I like being able to just use my own batteries is the rechargeable battery pack that I have for my Xbox controller lasts longer than the other two controllers by far. Like, my PlayStation controller just dies not being used. My Xbox controller doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, most things that are rechargeable, if you're not using them, the battery is still dying.
Exactly. But like the rechargeable, just like AA batteries I have for my Xbox controller, they don't drain as fast as the other ones. Like, they just kind of keep going.
But how do you do you have like a rechargeable base or something like that? Or like...
Yeah, and I literally have, the thing I bought came with two sets of batteries that are like, it is like it's hard to, like, I'm not explaining this well. It's two batteries like put together, like two AA batteries, so it fits in a spot for AA batteries. And yeah, it just has has like a little dock. I can charge two at a time. It came with two. So like, I use one, the other one is not in a controller, and it's just charged. Mm-hmm. And then like, if it dies, I pop that out, put the charged one in, and then charge the other one.
Yeah. Man, fucking technology. I hate it. I hate video games.
Well, you better stop playing them. You're banned from video games.
I'm trying to make a career about video games, so I can't stop playing them.
Well, you can't hate them if you're trying to make a career of them.
You can hate them, but still make a career of them.
Anyway, Rich, what's on the agenda?
Not a lot. We watched Gremlins. Cobb played Super Mario RPG. And we're going to talk about this year in general and just like reminisce about this year because it's a slow news week. It's a slow week in general, and Christmas took a lot of time from people to be able to do stuff. It's been a busy week. We could also, because I haven't discussed, we could also talk about my playthrough of The Long Dark, having had now been over for 2 weeks.
We could.
If
but are
we
we
have
going
time, after the best and worst of, we can, or maybe I can slide that in as like a capper to the best and worst, or the 2023 year in review. That's how we'll do it. If we have time, I'll slip it in as a capper to the year in review.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So what did you guys think of Gremlins?
I want to know Drew's opinion on Gremlins.
He hates
because y'all know my opinion. We already, I mean, not y'all as in the listeners, but you two know my opinion on the movie. I want to know what Drew thought of the movie.
I didn't particularly care for it. It's in the grouping of the vast majority of movies where I don't really care for it, but if you told me you like it, I could see it. I didn't though.
So
why not?
So basically all movies.
Yeah, like I said, the vast majority of movies.
What is it that you didn't like about the movie?
Basically everything.
Eating after midnight.
Yes.
That just pulled you right the fuck out of it.
Immediately out of it. When is after midnight? All time is after midnight. What time can you start feeding them?
Stop being so literal.
Listen. If I told you come over after work, what time you gonna come over?
Fucking, I don't know. Sometime after work.
3 a.m.
Yeah. But if you come over at 3 a.m. when I told you to come over after work, you're thinking you're being too logical about the definition of after something. Like I said, after midnight sounds ominous for a reason. It's supposed to make it sound ominous. But the general idea is don't feed them late at night before dawn. Don't feed it, but it doesn't sound as ominous as after midnight. That's the idea. Like, don't feed them at night is really what it should be. But at night is also very broad because it's fucking
because you can feed them at 11:30 p.m. Like that's what the kid does. He thinks it's like 11 o'clock, gets them some chicken wings, and then finds out that they unplugged the clock, and it was actually potentially after midnight, and he just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like that whole thing is like, well, what's after midnight? Like, that's been a like joke against the movie for 40 years. Like, that is always the question. It's like, well, when's after midnight? Like, because 9 a.m. technically after midnight.
Literally all time is after midnight. There is no time that is before midnight.
Then there's also
is after midnight.
All time is after midnight, but all time is also before midnight. Then
no, because that's not how days work.
It doesn't matter how days work. It is before midnight.
But you can't go backwards in time.
You can go forwards in time. So before midnight is any time before midnight. Correct? If everything is after midnight,
it is also after midnight.
But it's also before midnight.
It's Schrodinger's cat.
Before doesn't exist in time.
Before does exist. Right now it's before 7 o'clock.
Time is a linear, like...
Time is fake.
No, time is real.
Time is a construct, okay? Midnight does not like the definite. If I'm gonna be
Also,
100% honest,
No, I super fucking did not care about that. It's 100% a joke. Like it's nonsensical because like what is after midnight?
But also,
all
who's
is after
midnight? Who's
But, like,
midnight?
no,
yes, exactly. Also, who's
my-
midnight? What like midnight where? What like?
But my question is, why does it matter? Like, why is it that and I'm not saying you specifically, Drew, but just in general, like, Cobb, you said it's been a joke around the community of the movies, but in general, like, why is it when you hear, don't feed them after midnight, why is it that your brain goes, well, what's after midnight mean?
Because
And
words matter. Things matter. Like, if you're building a universe, make the things matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a
Then
fucking it's a movie. It's entertainment. Just sit there and be like, after midnight, okay. Don't feed them after midnight, sure.
But Rich, let me
Sure.
pose this to you then. Why does it get you so worked up that after midnight matters?
It doesn't matter. Like, that's why I'm worked up. Why does it matter? It does not matter. It's fake. It's fake. It does not matter. Why do people have such why is it the term after midnight such a point of contention?
Because people like looking for holes in movies. Like that is a thing that people enjoy doing. And this is one of those things where like it's not really a hole, it's a poorly worded like limitation to the thing.
Right.
So like people are just like, well, like when can they feed them then? Like is it okay to feed them at this time? Like no one really cares. Like Drew said, like it's a joke. Like people make fun of it for being so just broad in their
like,
rules.
When I guess I don't know. I'm not thinking so linear when it comes to the question of, well, midnight is after midnight is every time. I'm just thinking, oh, don't feed them after midnight. Once midnight hits, don't feed them until dawn. Don't feed them until the sun comes out. They can't be out in the sun, but don't feed them until the sun comes out.
I mean, then, like, they could have just said that.
But it's ominous to say don't feed them after midnight.
It's just as ominous to say don't feed them before dawn.
But it's still just as ambiguous, because then it's like they can be fed between midnight and like 6 a.m., let's say. And like that doesn't sound ominous or cool. But like just saying after midnight, it's very cut and dry. It's not clear what the full scope and limitations are, but it is very clear. It's like after 12 a.m., don't feed them. My complaint still, how do they know time zones? Like, because I don't know where this one this one they never tell you where it takes place. But
it's in the same place that Back to the Future takes place.
Yeah, it's apparently in Hill Valley. But like I forget where Hill Valley is supposed to be too. I think like somewhere like Midwesty.
Probably.
I know Gremlins 2 happens in New York City. And, they just kind of adhere to whatever their local time zone is. I feel like that sort of like thing wouldn't adhere to time zones. It would be like from wherever their origin is.
Which would yes, it wouldn't adhere to time zones, but it would adhere to the day-night cycle. Which is why saying don't feed them before dawn would actually make more sense. Like, it's not because to your point, Richie, time is construct. Day-night isn't.
Yeah, I think the other issue with that is though, when do you have to stop feeding them?
According to Wiki, Kingston Falls is in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Which makes sense because like they go to New York and like he doesn't move to New York. I don't think. I think he's there for an interview or something.
No, him and Phoebe Cates are living in New York City.
Okay.
She works, I think, at the TV studio place building, and he is trying to get a job there. It's been a while since I saw the sequel, but
here's a bigger actual plot hole that actually makes more sense that I'm annoyed with. When all the gremlins go outside at night, once they've changed, snow is notably something that would make you wet. Snow melts.
Yeah.
There should have been even more gremlins.
I mean, yes, but also as he was climbing, like, it's a level of suspension of disbelief when it comes to stuff like that, because he was climbing at the very end of the movie when they're getting ready to fight, or when they're fighting in the greenhouse, he's climbing a well, or a fountain, that's spraying water onto him. but he doesn't start to multiply until he puts his finger inside of the well.
Yeah, actually,
Yes.
do we
But
get...
we don't know the actual rules for the Gremlins. We just know the rules for the Mogwais. How much water consists of them getting wet.
Oh yeah, it's like a single drop of water causes them to at least multiply once.
Yeah, like when
I never remember the kid's name.
No, the Mogwai's name. Gizmo, right? Gizmo, yeah. I thought that was wrong. So when Gizmo got wet by accident the first time, he shot out, 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, and that was like a cup of water. But when they took one of them to the school, it was just a single drop.
Yeah, so there is a limitation of how much water will cause them to multiply. The reason there was hundreds is because it was in a pool of water. He could have just stayed in that pool of water and kept multiplying, but it's also a painful process for them. They already showed that. So it's there is essentially the idea of there is a statute or an area of suspension of disbelief, but also yes, snow is wet. Snow is wet, but it's frozen. So you are stepping if you step on the snow, your shoe isn't wet until the snow starts to melt. So how are these creatures just as hot as humans? Are they melting it right away?
They're very reptilian. Maybe they're cold-blooded.
Exactly. Are they cold-blooded or maybe it's cold enough to where it's not melting because it's the process of melting the snow that gets you wet, not having the snow on you.
Yeah, I mean, and actually the biggest maybe to suspend disbelief is, when he goes into the sprinkler or the fountain, he doesn't immediately start, and it's was that plot hole, or was that a drop won't make the gremlin start reproducing?
Yeah, because that's the thing that they never really dive into that, and I feel like even in the sequel, it's very open-ended as to how much of a thing it actually takes to do it. And I can give you guys a bigger plot hole. So the couple, the guy that has the drinking problem with the snowplow.
Yeah.
So it is very much alluded that they are killed because they are run over by their snowplow. They are in the second movie visiting the kid and the girl in New York City.
I don't care about plot holes for the sequel.
I might have looked away. Or not might have. I did look away at some of the whole attack at times because I was although I was super slow with work, I still had a few things I had to do here and there. So I did look away. I remember them saying they might have died or they at least got attacked, but somebody had to call in that attack.
So literally, the gremlin drove his snowplow into his house and then ran them over with it. It was one of those they are huddled in the corner screaming and doing the horror movie hands over their face as the gremlin drives the snowplow into them. It's just lower budget movie in the 80s. They couldn't show that because it would have been expensive and it would have looked bad.
Yeah.
Just like when they flung the old lady out of the window, it was very obviously a dummy. But it was also funny because that lady was the worst.
Yes, she was the worst.
She was such a caricature too.
I loved the bar scene with all the gremlins.
Where they're all just drinking.
I felt like that scene could have just been cut from the movie.
They're all drinking, smoking, partying. Look, Drew, here's the thing. You've never seen the sequel, and this isn't about the sequel, but the sequel gets a lot more over the top with stuff like that.
I was gonna say, isn't the sequel notoriously absolutely shit on for being real bad?
Yeah, so they lean into a lot more humor in the sequel. At one point, literally Gizmo at one point gets fed up being at the Gremlins punching bag and turns into fucking Rambo. Puts the fucking red bandana thing over on his head, gets a little bow and arrow. There's
he turns a so it's one of the big binder clip, the big paper clips that are the 2 triangles.
Mm-hmm.
He turns that into a bow, I believe, with a rubber band, and he's using matches and things like that as arrows.
Yeah,
it gets over they drink a serum that makes them smart or sexy or this or that, and it gets over the top. Like, and that in that sequence to me, I like, because I've only ever seen Gremlins 2, like, it brought me back into Gremlins 2, because it's like, man, I remember shit like this in Gremlins 2, and this is just insane and ridiculous. The thing that took me out of it is Phoebe Cates was still there.
Yeah,
why the fuck is she still there?
She looked terrified, but she was serving them.
Like, why was she still serving? That was what took me out. Like, why was she still serving them? I know it was for plot armor, but, like, why was she still serving them? Why didn't she just run away when they came and invaded?
And her Christmas story is still my favorite Christmas story ever.
My dad died while climbing down the chimney to be Santa for us for Christmas.
But,
what
like,
the fuck?
Yeah, but, like, just the delivery of that and the sincerity with it, as absurd as that is, and it's just like... And it was cold, and it was like a week later, and I went to turn on to start a fire, and it smelled bad, and we just thought it was like a raccoon or like a cat, and it was my dad, and he broke his neck when he was climbing down the chimney with a bag full of presents for me.
Chimneys cannot fit a human person.
1984 chimneys could, apparently.
I don't think chimneys ever could.
No. But so I forget what the story is, but there is another scene like that in Gremlins 2 that's basically used as like we're making fun of the story from the first one.
Okay.
Like that story in Gremlins 1, the story is very sincere. Like, it's not played for jokes. It's ridiculous and over the top, but like it was not played for jokes in that movie. The story she tells in the sequel absolutely is. Like, I think it was like the Easter Bunny or something like that.
I don't remember. It's been forever since I watched Gremlins 2. I will have to say, it's a shock no one actually, like, batted an eye at Gizmo.
What do you mean?
You bring this weird, furry, little gerbil gremlin creature into your house, and no one's just like, what the fuck is this creature? I've never heard of anything like this before. And then anyone who ever meets it is just like, oh wow, that's cool. And not like questioning the fact that these things that can kind of talk exist.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I love, it's like, I'm like, that's weird. I love this, but it's also weird. It's great.
Well,
it's
also,
great.
really nobody commented on their, like, ability to talk a little bit. It was like, no, that just is a thing.
Yeah, it's just normal. It's mythical creatures, but like you set up this world that like is for the most part realistic, except for the fact that these little mogwais and gremlins live or are a part of the world. But like you don't know like what other maybe potential mysterious creatures could be in this world if mogwais and gremlins are real. And, like, no one really bats an eye at the fact that these things exist. Like, I know
until there's crazy monsters.
Until they're crazy monsters. Like, I know if I brought home a mogwai, if I brought my wife home a mogwai to give to my son for Christmas, she'd be like, what the fuck is that? And startled. Like, and even modern day era, you'd be Googling this thing. What is it? What's a mogwai? Reading that it's legends and things like that. Like, it wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, give our son, who's maybe 20 years old.
So he's drinking at a bar, so he's got to be between...
drinking age recently...
No,
21.
No, it was 21, definitely in the 80s.
So actually, I was started to say that, but then I remembered that I looked this up while we were watching it, because Erica and I had the same... Like, he seemed younger. So the legal drinking age was not made 21 until July of 1984. This movie is based in 1984, which means it may have come out, like it may have been filmed, and most likely was, before that legislation went into place.
Yeah, so like Pennsylvania is one of 11 states where drinking age has been 21 since... Oh, Pennsylvania is one of the 11 states where it's been 21 since 1930s. So
okay, so he's got to be at least 21.
Got to be at least 21. But like, yeah, that's one thing that always like, with that 70s show, I always questioned it. Like, because the kids were always able to buy beer at one point, and it's like, oh, the drinking age was 18 in the 70s in Wisconsin.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I wasn't even thinking about that.
That's how, like, I had looked it up at one point when I was watching that 70s show, like, within the past 5 or 6 years, doing a watch through of it on Netflix. I was like, wait, how are they able to buy beer? They're not 20. They're barely out of high school. It's like, oh no. It's fairly, at this point, not as recent as it was back then, but it's fairly recent that it was changed.
Yeah, knowing that this is a movie, even if they claim that that it's set in Pennsylvania, that doesn't mean that the writer and director thought anything about what local state laws were. So, like, it could still be 18 to 21 is his age range.
Yeah, this movie was filmed in the Universal backlot. They did not do research on the actual drinking age of Pennsylvania. They just were like, okay, the country, everyone can drink at 18. So he's a high school graduate, but he's probably not much older than 21 or 22.
Exactly. But yeah, I love this movie, but like, it's been it's not a new movie for me. Like, I've been watching it since I was a kid. I even like the sequel. Like, the sequel is stupid, but I have fun with it.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that I've never seen, but I've always watched every time it came on the sequel. And I love the sequel. I love New Batch, right? That's what it's called, I think. New Batch. Yep. I love it. It might be bad or whatever, but I love it. It brings me back to my childhood. It brings me back to nostalgia. It's this, and like we mentioned this last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about it. This and Short Circuit 1 are two movies that I've seen the sequel millions of times, but never saw the original.
And you don't want to rewatch the Short Circuit movies now.
Look, here's the thing. Here's how. Yeah, it's not cool that they brown-faced him, but at the same time, if you're gonna watch the movie, you're gonna watch the movie. I'm not gonna be mad at you to watch Short Circuit.
Well, yes, but
it's just you got it. It's how do they put it on Pete Holmes' podcast? Controversy noted is pretty. If you're gonna talk about a controversy noted, they brown faced a white dude. That sucks, and I'm sorry they did that. It wasn't. I mean, it was a different time, but it wasn't a different time because it's never been acceptable. But I enjoy that movie, even understanding what they did, because it's something I used to watch as a kid.
When was the last time you saw either of them, though?
As a kid.
Okay, so you don't know that you still enjoy it, then?
I'm still I will at least enjoy, for the same reason that like I had a lot of fun watching Gremlins. I will enjoy Short Circuit 2 at least enough because of nostalgia. Like I understand, and I will admit, like none of these movies are notably good movies, but they're products of the 80s. Like, a lot of those movies weren't necessarily that good.
Except for Gremlins. Gremlins, masterpiece.
No.
No, it's not, but
it's like, you have to acknowledge, at least with Gremlins, I don't know, like, really the writer, director, whatever, of Short Circuit movies. Like, this is a Spielberg film, and, like, he did a Phone Home reference. He did a E.T. reference, and, like, Spielberg knows what he's doing.
Gremlins isn't a Spielberg movie.
This is a Spielberg movie.
No, it's an Amblin Entertainment movie.
I saw Steven Spielberg on there somewhere.
So that's because Steven Spielberg owns Amblin Entertainment. That's his production company. Chris Columbus is the writer, and Joe Dante is the director. Chris Columbus is the guy that directed the first two Harry Potter movies, or the first two, first two, and Home Alone. He also directed Home Alone.
Could have swore it said that he had more than just owning the company.
Well, he is it's his production company, so he was a producer on it.
Oh, Howie Mandel was Gizmo.
Oh, huh.
He did the voice of Gizmo, apparently.
Interesting. I mean, like, the voice, like, the sound effects more than anything, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because there's just, he has that one actual word at the end.
Yeah.
For some reason I feel like I knew that Howie Mandel was that, and I've just totally forgot. Also, Corey Feldman as the random little kid.
Yep. The little kid that just happened to be friends with Billy.
Yeah.
yeah.
The 13-year-old friends with the 20-ish-year-old.
Yeah. Like, oh, interesting. Weird. But we have to talk about the most important thing, guys. And I brought it up to you. Why was there a brain just sitting on the table?
We don't know what kind of brain it was.
But it was still a brain. Just
they had to set up that it was a science classroom.
Exactly. I was just like, that was the first thing I saw when that scene started. And I'm like, what the fuck is that brain doing there? Why? Why is there a brain right here? What is going on with this?
Because
so
there's
confused.
no other way to know that man is qualified to study a Mogwai.
He's not. There's no way to know he's qualified to study science unless there's a brain in his room.
Exactly.
And then, like, I'm trying to just figure out, this is the day before Christmas break. No, they're, like, working on Christmas Eve, actually. Like, they're in school on Christmas Eve. I don't know what school is ever open on Christmas Eve. But they're in school on Christmas Eve, and they're watching, like, a medical documentary or some shit where they're, like, doing heart surgery or something. I don't know.
And they were, like 13-year-olds, too. They were not, like, high school kids.
Yeah, that's preschool. Or not preschool. What's that called? Middle school. But, like, they could have been older. Like, they could have been 14. They could have been in high school.
They didn't look like high school kids.
13 to 18 is high school age, or high school era. But I didn't really pay attention to how old the kids were. It's just the one kid that was in the classroom.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Corey Feldman was there, and he's like 13 in this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that you can't go into serious, because it's not a serious movie.
Yeah.
And I completely understand why Drew wouldn't like it, because of just how it's stupid. There's a lot of stupid in it.
Yeah.
But like, I love the stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff is fun to me.
Sometimes you just gotta shut your brain off and laugh.
It didn't make me laugh, though.
Well,
I agree with that.
You didn't shut your brain off enough.
I guess not.
Listen, turn your brain off all the way. Go rewatch it. We'll reconvene next week.
I laughed so much more at this than I did at fucking Groundhog Day.
I can say it for sure.
The pretty much almost the entire last hour, the entire like gremlin attack was just making me crack up.
Because it's not mean humor.
Yeah,
like
it was just fun. It was a fun movie.
Yeah, like, it's horror humor. Like, the Gremlins are doing bad things, but it's not mean-spirited humor the way the humor in Groundhog's Day was. Like, The whole thing of that movie is Bill Murray's character is a bad person.
He's a bad person who learns nothing.
No, he absolutely learns. If he learns to do enough things and retries the same thing over and over again, eventually he gets the girl.
Yeah. He learns not to... Honestly, if that movie had ended when... If he had just learned no means no, I would be happy with the movie and it'd be a much better movie. If the day would have... If he would have eventually just stopped trying to date her after she said no, and that's how the day would have progressed, great movie. But no, it's just keep trying. Keep trying. No, fuck off.
Keep trying till you can fix literally an entire town's problems in a day, and then you'll get the girl.
Yeah, I mean, look, the real thing he had to do was learn how to play the piano.
Yeah.
He had to get up on that stage, play the piano like a virtuoso, so that piano teacher will now have all of the students and she will live a comfortable life.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with him learning how to be a better person. He just had to help that piano teacher out.
Yeah.
And, it took him like 35 years to do it. But any last things either you guys want to say about Gremlins?
The mom was a badass.
Wasn't she though?
Fuck out of those Gremlins.
Awesome.
She's like... Also, why did she have a knife just at the ready while fucking decorating gingerbread cookies?
The fuck not?
She's probably cutting the... She probably doesn't have cookie cutters.
But assuming. The cookies were already cut. She was decorating them.
And then she's spreading the icing onto the cookies.
With a fucking chef knife?
The dad took all the other knives for his stupid inventions.
I mean, that's entirely possible. Dude, those inventions were so stupid. But, like, in, like, the best way. Like, I love
They were 80s fantasy inventions.
Yeah.
100%. Like, these are inventions you're gonna see in... Yeah. Like, it's what you see in 80s movies when they're trying to invent the new thing and all... Like, if you watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you'll see inventions like that. If you watch Back to the Future, you'll see inventions out. Like, it's just 80s inventions.
No, but I don't mean that. I mean, like, how badly they worked. Like, the smokeless ashtray was just billowing smoke. It's like, no cigarette creates that much smoke.
Yeah.
Or the juicer that exploded, and it exploded with way more than a single orange would have produced.
The coffee machine that sprayed oil.
Yeah, like, just... Everything was, like, just a little too, like, over-the-top wild in, like, a fun way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mom was good. She did not give any fucks. She went right after those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But so I got Super Mario RPG, the remake.
Nice.
How is it? It's on my list of things that I want.
It's really good.
All right, good.
It like the only thing they really did was like a visual overhaul. At least to my memory. Like it's been a very long time since I played any of the original Mario RPG. But like what I remember of that game, like it feels like that.
Okay.
I'm about 2 hours in. Like I just started it today. So I'm to like the second city that you get to. So I have Mallow. I have I talked to his grandfather. We found out about Mallow, and the grandfather's like, "All right, you should go to this next place. That they're the next place that needs help." And you go through like the sewers, and you fight the dog. And I'm like just past that section.
Okay.
And yeah, like the music is wonderful because it's got like remixes on like all the classic Mario themes.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, it's not quite as remixed as newer Mario games do. Like when you play Mario Wonder, like you can hear like the classic Mario theme in there, but it's not just that. It's got like other stuff built on top of it. These are just very reminiscent of them, just like a little different. And even when Shy Guys, like one of the moves they can do is like a lullaby. They play the Yoshi's Island theme to put you to sleep.
Okay.
But it's like a slower one that's more like belly, like church bell sort of bells. So yeah, but music's really good. Graphically it looks fantastic. Like it's a very pretty game. Without being too much. Like I didn't really care for the graphics in Mario Wonder. But like this one managed to update the graphics but still keep kind of the charm that like the original would have had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some of the silly humor still, like the opening where you go and take on like Bowser, and he jumps onto the chandelier, or he's already on the top of the chandelier with Peach, and like Mario's like on the ground jumping trying to like reach Peach, and then all of a sudden he's just able to jump all the way up onto the chandelier once it like pans up. And then once those are both falling, they both fall for like minutes, even though they were close enough to the ground before that Mario just hopped up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I definitely see now, because it's been so long since I've really seen these games, how Mario RPG transitioned into like the Paper Mario games. Like I see where that humor that they kind of built into those games like originate.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's turn-based combat. It's still very much that. It's got like, I don't know. Do you remember the original very much, Drew?
Not like just thinking about it, but I'm sure if I played it, a lot of things would be like, oh yeah, I remember playing this back in the day.
Do you remember if the original had like interactive combat? Like
Mario, definitely.
Like hitting A at the right time will do like extra damage.
Yeah, like I said, I'm 100% sure I remember Mario, especially the jump attack. Like if you time it right, he'll do more jumps. I don't remember the other characters for sure. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure every one of them did. Because like I think Mallow's attack winds up doing like, instead of just one punch, he'll do a 2-hit combo or whatever, or like a Bowser on that. But like, yeah, kind of remember them all having a little bit.
Yeah, and so the jump. So you're thinking of both things. So Mario gets a super jump ability at one point.
Right. Uh-huh.
That's the one when you use that ability. If you time A right, you can jump more than once and like do extra damage.
Right.
But then they just have if you time your hit right, it'll do like an extra swing.
Okay.
And there's nothing like specifically on screen to like show you when to do it exactly.
Okay.
But like the better timing you have, the better damage you do, and if you hit it perfectly, it will damage nearby enemies as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right. And yeah, and it works defensively too. So if you hit an A press right before an enemy attacks, or right before an attack hits you, if it's like a ranged attack,
mm-hmm.
You can either lower the damage or negate it entirely.
Okay.
Which is nice and definitely helps with some of like the boss fights and stuff like that, where there might be like 7 people in the fight. Like the first major boss fight against the guy on the big pogo sword.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps dropping 5 Shy Guys down to fight with him, and like if you don't like take them all out quickly, it's a fucking rough fight. And having Mario being able to hit and then do like that second hit that damages everybody definitely helps kind of clear them out every time. On top of Mallow having magic and having his Thunderbolt spell that actually hits everybody. It made that fight way less stressful than it could have been. But yeah, like 2 hours in, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm definitely going to play more because I never beat that game as a kid because I never owned it. I like rented it a few times, and I don't think I ever really got further than like the second star that you collect. Because it was one of those, like, I never got to rent the same copy of it twice, so I was always just starting over. Because fucking Nintendo cartridges and their save games being on the cartridge. Trying to think, I wrote down a couple notes. I don't know if there was anything else I missed that I haven't yet. The combat does actually get challenging pretty quickly. Mostly because, like, your character's a little squishy, even when you've bought, like, some of the early level armors and things. And they do you can randomly end up in combat with, like, a special enemy, which are just stronger. So they take more hits to take out, and they tend to do more damage. So if you're not really good at the minimizing damage button presses, like, you can get your health knocked down real fast in one of those fights. Especially in certain sections where there are enemies that can do status effects like poison. Mario kept getting poisoned, and it was like 3 to 5 HP every turn, plus whatever damage the enemies were hitting him with. So like I had Mario very low on health a couple of times and had to like finish a fight and then go back to his house to sleep because that's the quickest place to go to sleep. And there is at least like quick travel as you unlock places. Like you can just open the map, and if you've been there, you can like warp back to there. I haven't tried it going to like a like middle of a zone thing. Like I doubt that would work. So if you warp to a zone, you're going to have to start from the beginning and work your way back through it. But none of the areas are super big, so it's not like that would be too time consuming. Unless you're like a lower level and you did it like before you cleared it, and have to go back through all the shit that was messing your day up already.
Right.
Leveling up is also pretty slow, and that's not a negative. It's just you get 2 to like 10 XP per fight depending on the enemies. Most just random enemies out in the field, you're getting like 1 in XP per enemy defeated in the fight. Special enemies and like some of the boss fights, you're getting more based on that, but it's nothing crazy. And right now, I think I need close to 100 XP per character to level up. So, like, you got to go through a lot of battles to actually get them leveled up. I want to say, I think both of them are level 7 right now because I only have Mario and Mallow at the moment. But I feel like I'm due for another character soon. I think the second city is where you get one of them because isn't the puppet dude a character that you play as, Gino?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think I get Gino in this place.
That
maybe.
Feels right, but it's been forever, so I couldn't 100%.
Yeah, exactly. One negative, and it's just a Nintendo. I wish they would do even just minor voice acting. Like,
yeah,
just because like this game has cutscenes. They're not crazy long, but they're still there, and I feel like doing this remake, like adding just a little bit of voice acting would have just like taken it up like that one extra notch versus just the occasional Mario sound effect and Bowser going bah ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Like they're the same sound effects we've had since Super Mario 64 at that point. Because when you're in the Mushroom Kingdom city, after talking to the Chancellor for the first time and you come out, like that's when you get Mallow. There's like a 2-minute cutscene there. Not a ton of dialogue, but it's Mallow chasing the crocodile kid. And he talks a couple times, and it's just white text at the bottom of the screen. It's actually a little hard to read because of the way that it's not like there's no border around it. It was just white text. That I feel like if it had just had a little bit of voice acting, it would have elevated it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a Nintendo problem. They don't do voice acting in their games for some reason, except for Zelda. They put some voice acting in Zelda, but not Mario. They hate Mario. Those fucking guys. They even fired Mario.
They fired Chris Pratt?
Exactly. They fired the real Mario.
I wish it would.
He was fine. I enjoyed that movie.
I enjoyed the movie. I still am not happy with him.
No, I mean, like, I wish they would have gone with somebody else just because he's a little too big of a name for that role, I feel. But also, like, he was fine. Like his voice did not take me out of it at all. frankly, I wish they could have resurrected Captain Lou Albano to voice him.
Right?
Like,
Come
right?
on, Nintendo, you got that money.
Yeah, because I'll give Pratt credit. Like, his voice was similar to like the late '80s, early '90s like Mario cartoons versus the video game like high pitched Charles Martinet Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So at least he was in line with a voice of Mario. But yeah, Super Mario RPG the remake, real good. Definitely worth checking out if you have a Switch and like old style turn based RPGs. That are charming. Like, it is charming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess best of 2023.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have nothing else to say about Mario RPG, I've never played it. I've known people enjoy it. I know someone who literally before the announcement of our Mario RPG played it, of the remake, played, like, again, for like the umpteenth time, played Super Mario RPG. They made the announcement. They waited like a month. They played it again in preparation for the new one to come out, and then played the new one and said that they love it just as much as you.
Yeah. You've played the Paper Mario games, haven't you?
Yeah, I've played almost all of them.
Okay, I thought so, but I didn't want to I didn't know if I was like misremembering. You'd actually probably enjoy going back to Mario RPG, but like you've done so many RPGs over the last 12 months that like it honestly might not click for you right now.
Yeah, it is something that's on my list of games that I want to play and try and get into. I'm just, yeah, like I'm RPG'd out at the moment, and I have technically only one other RPG to play after the current long ass fucking atrocity that I'm playing right now is. So,
in Mario's like benefit, it's much more lighthearted and like a fun story versus the very deep ones that you've kind of gotten into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stories about slavery and fucking more slavery.
Yeah. But
I think no, Star Ocean wasn't about slavery, or was it about what was Star? No, it wasn't about slavery. It was about something else. So I can't.
But still, like more modern RPGs and even older ones, like looking at Final Fantasies and Dragon Quests and Chrono Trigger and everything, all that stuff is very like it's serious. Like there might be like goofy moments here and there, but they're serious.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Mario RPG is more fun with a little serious sprinkled in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's still, Mario trying to rescue the princess. Like it's still got that going on, but like I entered a fucking inn to like get some rest, and this kid like decided he wanted me to play like Save the World with him, where we're literally using like Bowser and Mario toys, like, and he's making pretend with this little kid, and anytime Mario has to like explain something, he doesn't talk. So he acts it out, and he literally turns into, like, the thing that he's talking about, whether it's Bowser or Peach or the Crocodile Kid. Like, it's silly.
Yeah.
At one point, you ask a little Toad person why they didn't stop the Crocodile Kid from running away, and the Toad responded with, "Well, I forgot my bazooka."
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's stupid, but it's funny, and it's not, like, taking itself too serious.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an older game, so it also has that style. Like, if you're not in the mood for an RPG, it is very much an RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, what do you guys have for your best of 2023s?
Look, as you guys were talking about Mario RPG, I went through this year of streams. And when it comes to gaming and streaming, and what I experienced this year, and just in general that was new this year, I only played 4 new games this year. And I constantly always only think about one of them, and that's Hi-Fi Rush. So I just want to talk about like how much Hi-Fi Rush, like how much I loved Hi-Fi Rush.
Wow, that was this year, wasn't it?
It was this year, and I want to play it again. I want to like play it more, or do some of the challenge modes, and like maybe just kind of reinstall it and get all the achievements and stuff. That game, it was so fun. It was done so well. The rhythm was fantastic. You don't have to be good at the rhythm in order to play it. You can just button mash if you want to, but the rhythm makes you stronger, more powerful, things like that. And it was just an overall fantastic fucking game with an amazing soundtrack. Both streamer mode, I never actually listened to the non-streamer mode soundtrack, but it's just a great soundtrack. and I forgot that I played that. I didn't forget that I played it, but like I forgot that it was this year, and I just got to start with Hi-Fi Rush. It was such a good game.
I forgot all about that game. I tried to play it because it was on Xbox Game Pass. I tried to play it with the cloud streaming on my phone, and you can't fucking do that.
No,
like you can't. Like the latency really fucking matters in that game, and it was an awful fucking time playing it streaming to my cell phone, even with a controller.
Yeah, no, I don't. That was a stupid decision on your part.
I was just curious. Like, it was one of those games I was curious about, but not curious enough to actually install it and like sit and play it. So I'm like, well, I have the thing to like attach a controller to my phone, like the little like dock thing, and like I've played other games, like I played Halo that way, and Halo plays great, but there's no latency issue with Halo. Like, that game is okay if there's a little bit of a lag between your input and what's going on the screen. A game that, like Rich said, requires you to kind of like attack to the beat. Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much at all. It's still it was a cool looking game though.
I love the art style, and I hope that they do something more with that franchise, with that IP. If they can do more titles with it, or expand the story, or honestly make like an animated series or anything with that, I would love it so much. But like, who knows? I haven't heard anything about it in forever, so who knows what they'll actually do with it. But yeah,
right, that was a Tango Gameworks game. I forgot that's who did it.
Yeah, it's such a good game, and I love it. I love it so much.
It won Best Audio Design at the Game Awards,
which I'm not surprised on.
And it was nominated for Art Direction, Score, Action Game, and Innovation in Accessibility. So while you haven't heard much about it, it was actually nominated for quite a few things.
What won with art direction? Please don't tell me Baldur's Gate.
Probably Baldur's Gate.
That makes me mad because I
Alan Wake 2.
I haven't played Alan Wake 2, so I wouldn't really be able to.
People really like Alan Wake 2.
Yeah,
but yeah, actually, Baldur's Gate was not even in art direction. It was Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Tears of the Kingdom, Lies of P, and Mario Wonder.
Okay.
So, yeah, no Baldur's Gate there.
Good.
But, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush actually nominated for a lot of awards, so, like, good on them.
Yeah. It's such a good game. Like, if you guys haven't played that yet, haven't had a chance to, like, sit down and play it, try to get a chance to play it. Because it is so fun. And, like I said, the music is awesome. It's, like, got such a great soundtrack.
I think the actual soundtrack is like all real music, isn't it? Like
probably,
licensed music.
Yeah, it's all there's like a streamer mode and a unlicensed mode, and like this game did streamer mode good because anytime that it played music when you were on streamer mode, it played the unlicensed stuff that they made for the game. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy, if you were on streamer mode, it would just be silent.
Which, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
that was they didn't think about that at all.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an official Spotify playlist of the songs from the game.
Nice.
But yeah, so the game included stuff from the Black Keys, Nine Inch Nails, the Flaming Lips, Fiona Apple, Prodigy, the Joy Formidable, Zwan, and like a bunch of others.
Mm-hmm.
So like it had a lot of fucking music in it.
Yeah.
Which that's cool.
Yeah. So who's next? Who wants to talk about something this year?
Drew, what do you got?
I'll stick with video games and say like one of the 2 new video games I played like this entire year. I've put a shitload of hours into Diablo IV. They have actively been making it better.
Fucking shocker that Diablo ended up. I'm surprised it ended up so quickly.
I didn't particularly like order my list.
Same.
Kind of whatever. But yeah, I wasn't super thrilled with it at first, but just kept playing it because it's fucking Diablo and it was the summer and I didn't have anything better to do. Then they did the first season. First season added some interesting things with the hearts that you would socket into jewelry, but then the new season that just came out in November, I think it was November, late October, they massively sped up the leveling time. Like, Season 1, I got a character to 92. It took 150 hours for me to get to level 92. Season 2, I got a character to 100 in like 60, 70 hours.
Oh, wow. That is a big difference.
Yeah, I was at 92 at like 52 hours. So it was like a third of the time to get to the same level. And then I didn't look back at how long it took me to get to 100 until I was well into having played at level 100. And at that point, it was at like 75. And I'm like, okay, I've probably had this character for at least 7 to 10 hours at level 100.
Is 100 the level cap?
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's no Paragon like there was in Diablo 3 where, yeah, you're level 70, but you're Paragon level 350 or whatever.
Like, obviously you enjoy the game because you've played so much of it, but like, how is it like compared to like 2 and 3?
I mean, like my personal ranking, I would have it below both of them probably. It's creeping up on 3. 2 is kind of, and actually now having played the 2 remake, 2's jumped back ahead of 3 for me. But I'm still not 100% thrilled with them having brought back the skill tree. Diablo 2's skill tree is just better. It makes more sense because the way items work in Diablo 2 versus the way items and skills work in Diablo 2 versus the way items and skills work in Diablo 3 and 4, which is essentially the same, where the skills, all their damage is based off the items you have equipped, and then the items will often have things that slightly change how some of the skills work, where Diablo 2, the skills are the skills, your weapons are your weapon. Yeah, maybe they'll have bonuses to some skills, but no item in Diablo 2 fundamentally change how a skill in Diablo 2 works, whereas items in Diablo 3 and 4 can. So I kind of don't like that they put back in a skill tree, because you might find items that have bonuses or whatever for specific skills that you're not using because you didn't build your character that way, and if you want to go change up, you have to spend a whole bunch of time completely redoing your character.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. They have since introduced items and also made the gold economy not matter. Because, like, yeah, you could just refund all your skill points, but it would cost a shitload of gold. Then they eventually put in an item. Okay, here, you can reset all your things for free. But also in Season 2, I have so much gold that I could probably undo all my skill points, reassign everything, undo them all again, respec everything, and still have 100 million gold.
Jesus.
Whereas Season 1, it was like, oh, alright, yeah, I could maybe respec, but then I'll have no gold, and won't be able to repair my items if they break. But, yeah, so it's very good. They keep making improvements. They announced an expansion for next year that is set in Kurast, which is Act 3 from Diablo 2, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, cool. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I played the beta for it, and like it was good. Like, I didn't have any like major complaints about it.
Yeah.
It was more Diablo.
Yeah.
But like I also wasn't compelled to buy it when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And like after it came out, you didn't really hear anyone talk about it much after that. Like there's a little bit of chatter right afterwards because it was new, and then it just sort of died off. Whereas I feel like Diablo 3 was 11 years ago now, but people were like talking about that one for a while after it came out.
Yeah, although I feel a lot of the early Diablo 3 feedback was, fuck this auction house, it's ruining everything.
Oh, yes. Like, it was not good feedback, but there was still chatter about it.
Oh, yeah.
And this one was just kind of like, it was kind of radio silence after launch. I'm like, oh, like, did they fuck up again and just no one cares? Or...
Kinda, a little bit, but...
But it also sounds like they're working at it.
Yeah.
I think in part a lot with Diablo 4... and because I can't fully remember, it was its release window.
June. It came out on 6/6/23. So
yeah, it was
666 if you multiply it by 3.
Which that was also the same time, around the same time, because like Jedi Survivor came out in April. Tears of the Kingdom came out just after that. Like the release window itself for Diablo 4 was rough for the game because so many other games and so many bigger games came out at or around that time, which is why I think you heard less about than Diablo 2.
Yeah, I think it literally was the week before Final Fantasy 16, I think.
Yeah. It was like that whole month, like all of June was just loaded with games. I think there was at least a new game every week in June.
Yeah, like it
Something like
definitely was. But like Diablo is much like Final Fantasy. Like Diablo is a big name, and it was just odd for it to just kind of come and go so quickly.
Yeah, it did fall out of the discourse real fast. It did sell 12 million copies in the first month and a half, though.
Okay, so I mean, so it did well at least.
It made $600 million in 5 days.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of games sold.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Diablo though?
No.
Right. I am going to break the video game trend.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck you guys. Trying to stay on trend. My first one, Adjacent Fest, because it'll probably never happen again.
You know, I have it on my list. Like, I was also just going to go concerts in general, but Adjacent was real cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I went to a lot of concerts, so did you. But like there was something special about Adjacent.
Yeah.
Like, I have never, like, there were a bunch of bands that played there that I had never seen before, including, like, Blink-182 and Paramore. And neither of them were bands that I was going to see on their individual tours. Like, Blink, because of how expensive tickets were. Like, yeah. I was willing to spend money for a 2-day festival. I was not willing to spend that same amount of money for one 4-hour concert.
Right.
That was also, like, a 2-hour drive, because they didn't have a Philly date at the time.
Yep.
So, like, getting to see Blink-182, and, like, they played full sets. It's not like it was just, like, it's not like it was other festivals where, like, even the headliners only play, like, 45 minutes. Like,
yeah,
they got their 90-minute sets. Like, and then just, like, all the other bands that, like, some of them I had seen, some of them I hadn't, but, like, seeing bands like The Starting Line in front of that many people was just really fucking cool, because, like, when they just came around on their own tour, like, they played, fucking Underground Arts. Which, like, you know, very small venue compared to what, like, the amount of people that Adjacent had. Especially, they played, like, late afternoon, early evening, so, like, the place was fucking packed there. And then, like, getting to see, like, Jersey Calling fucking play on those stages, like, that was really fucking cool. And a bunch of bands that either I knew but hadn't seen, or had seen once or something like that, or even bands that I had just never fucking heard of before that, like, I listened to there for the first time. Yeah. It was 2 days of just, like, a lot of really good music, and, like,
the weather was so nice too.
Yeah, like, it was such a nice weekend. My only downside was I had the worst fucking headache the first half of Sunday. And I couldn't kick it. But, like, I still enjoyed myself. It was just this, like, my head hurt until probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon from, like, that morning, like, when we woke up. Because I bought fucking aspirin at one of the hotels, like, the hotel casinos. It was, like, one of those little, like, $6 bottles that you would get at, like, CVS, and it was $20 fucking there.
God damn.
But I had no choice, and, like, my head hurt that bad. It was just, well, I'm going to spend $20 on this fucking aspirin, and I'm going to try and take it in with me, and we're going to see if they fucking tell me I can't. And if I can't, I'm going to have to throw it away. I'm going to be fucking grumpy about it. But they didn't, and I was able to bring it in. I threw it in the locker we had, and I took it a couple times throughout the day, and eventually, like, the headache went away, and I was able to enjoy the rest of the afternoon headache-free.
That's good. Yeah.
And, like, it didn't stop me from enjoying any of the bands, because, like, the weather was so nice that, like, it's not like it was hot, too, and I was like, oh, I'm hot and sweaty and miserable, my head hurts. It's just, my head hurt. But, like, there was a nice breeze, the sun was kind of back and forth. There were places you could get out of the sun, so it was just a really good time. And I'm a little bummed that they don't seem to be doing it again.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, it seemed to be a success.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like, it seemed like there were a shitload of people there.
Yeah, tons of people there. Like, I didn't see any, like, super negative feedback after the fact either.
Yeah, no, like it wasn't perfect, but it...
Like, those things never are, and for the first year, I think they did really well for the first year, like, not knowing, like, what it was going to be like. And I feel like if they could keep doing it and kind of, like, take feedback that they got, because they sent out, like, those, like, feedback questionnaires after the fact. Like, what do you think we could do better next time? Yeah. And then, like, there just doesn't seem to be a next time, or maybe they just couldn't book one this year, and maybe it'll be back next year or the year after. But, you know, like, it reminded me of, like, the Warped Tour days and stuff like that. So, yeah, Adjacent Fest. Great fucking time. Worth every penny.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Rich?
Well, real quick, have you seen the Paramore scuttlebutt that's happened in the last day?
No.
I
They've
saw
blown
that
up
they
they deleted all their social media and their website.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any information as to why yet, but yeah, they did that.
Like they had some vague tweet about we'll see what the future holds and then deleted everything. And I was reading one article, I think it was the Loudwire article, that was saying, well, their record deal or their deal with whatever record label they were with just ended or is about to end, and maybe it's just them just scrubbing everything to have done with their record label, and also maybe the label handled their social media before, so they had to basically. But it's also okay, did y'all just break up even though you have these Taylor Swift dates announced?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I
that's
don't,
right.
it,
They were supposed to open for Taylor on her European tour, right? It looks like so. I just looked, and it's not just their band stuff either. The individual, at least Haley wiped her social media stuff too.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Her. So it doesn't look like she's used Facebook in years, but her Instagram was just blank when I clicked on it. So
Yeah.
that's I wonder I don't know if anyone else in the band has it. Taylor Twitter. Okay, so Taylor from the band doesn't really use anything apparently. He's got a Twitter account with 4 posts from 2018 and the rest of them from March of this year. So I don't know. That's weird though. That's not super uncommon for weird actors and bands and stuff do that shit where they purge all of their stuff and then it drums up speculation for them to make an announcement for what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I can't, unless something really bad happened, I can't imagine they just deleted everything and called it quits when they're scheduled to go on that European tour next year.
I mean, unless they're not majorly unless they were able to buy their way out of the contract to go on that tour.
Even then, I can't see them have because it's not like they were just on that tour. Hayley Williams is friends with Taylor Swift. That's why they're doing the tour.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those I feel it just seems like one of those promotional things. At least that's what I'm assuming.
I don't know. I think it's something in the nature of Drew said, maybe their contract was up. That or maybe something terrible happened with the band. Who knows? There no information has come out yet. They haven't said anything. But yeah, I got wind of that yesterday. Oh shit. Because I do enjoy Paramore. I mean, I haven't really listened to a lot of their new stuff, but I like old school Paramore.
Their new stuff is very poppy.
Yeah.
There's a couple good songs in there, but it's not as good as Riot and the one right after Riot that I can never remember the name of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm assuming it's all it's something for a big announcement because Haley also wiped her account. If her account was fine and she just hadn't posted on it in a while, it'd be okay, yeah, something weird's going on with the band. But for both of their things to be wiped, there's just going to be some weird cryptic thing going on for a while before they make a big announcement, because that's what bands and actors and shit do, and it's weird. But it drums up publicity for them, so
yeah.
I guess it works. Rich, do you have a number 2 or just a second thing, I should say?
Sure. I'll go with another video game thing that you guys cannot relate to. It's beating for the very first time beating a Monster Hunter with having defeated every monster with Monster Hunter Rise. That was the first time I ever actually defeated the final monster in a Monster Hunter.
Really?
I've never done it in any of the others. I've never really gotten as far as I have prior to World. I've always gotten to G rank, but I've never really done a lot of endgame stuff. The older Monster Hunters, even now I've tried going back and playing them, they've always been a little bit of a harder sell for me. I couldn't, I liked them, but I didn't like them as much as World and Rise. And so, yeah, I never actually, fully completed a Monster Hunter before Rise and defeating, Primordial Malzeno. And, I remember, even now, the feeling of defeating Primordial Malzeno after failing the mission 11 times. And I just released a short of all my deaths, and it's just like, it's still like, it is one of the highest points of pride in myself I've ever had in like a long time. Of just like, I stuck to it. I did it finally, and like, it was even to like, I did it solo, queued up for multiplayer, meaning I like handicapped myself by only having just me and my cat, and not both my cat and my dog, not any like other like helpers. It was just a solo playthrough and a solo run set for multiplayer. So like, I handicapped myself and I got this done. And it's just like, it was such a good feeling, such a great achievement for me, because it's like, he was a hard fucking boss, and I've tried to fight him after I beat him and still have kept dying. Like, it ended up being maybe a fluke that I won. Who knows?
But you won, that's what's important.
Exactly. Like, I did it, and it was just like, it was such a great feeling. So yeah, it was like seeing a Monster Hunter to the end is definitely like up there on my list this year of like achievements and great things that happened this year in general.
That's good. I'm glad you beat a Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I have to wait a fucking year and a half for another one. God
That's
damn.
not long enough.
It's too long. Look, I mean, it's not technically not too long, because like Rise and Primordial Malzeno ended in June, actually, June or July. So like, it's like having to wait until 2025 for it to come out. It's not that long, but at the same time, like, I've made this complaint a million times in the past and many times before. Like, the trailer dropped a year plus before the launch of the game, and all you give us is a teaser, and then I'm gonna be sitting there over the next year plus with Capcom releasing like quarterly content drops and wanting to play this game more and more, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be going back to Monster Hunter World now and playing through that fully, because we all know it's going to be in the same world. Capcom's even building it up that it's going to be in the same new world, quote, region as Monster Hunter World. So it's like, yeah, I'm waiting for it, and I'm excited for it, and I can't wait. So like, yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, beating Primordial Malzeno, biggest accomplishment I've achieved in a long time.
Nice. Good job.
Thanks.
Drew, what's your second?
Like I said, concerts, so I'll go stick on music and go with, like, I'll just lump real quickly 3 albums that came out this year that I thought were super dope. The Surface by Beartooth, Why Would I Watch by Hot Mulligan, and No Joy by Spanish Love Songs. All those albums are fucking great, beginning to end. Listen to them. Go see them live.
What was the Hot Mulligan?
Why Would I Watch came out early this year, and then No Joy came out in the summer, and The Surface came out October? When the fuck did
Beats me.
October 13th, yeah.
Beartooth is good, though.
Beartooth
I
is
will
fucking great.
confirm that.
Spanish Love Songs, amazing. Hot Mulligan,
They are also good.
amazing.
Let's not go too far now.
Number 1 hot new band.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Also, Blink-182 had that new album, and that was a pretty good album.
You know, I haven't listened to that full thing yet.
I haven't listened to all of it, but I've listened to a bunch of tracks, and, like, they're good. Like, they're hitting, like, a good, like, this is Blink-182, but also this is, like, a new Blink-182.
Mm-hmm.
It's better. As much as I love Matt Skiba, it is better than the one they did with him. Like, I don't know. I like Skiba. I just never really liked him in Blink.
Yeah.
Whereas Rich fucking hates Tom DeLonge, so.
I do. Like, his voice is terrible, and I just don't want to listen to it.
Man, you can only be so wrong, Rich.
I mean, I'm not wrong. It's my opinion.
No, I'm just kidding. Drew, if you had to pick, out of those 3, if you had to pick one, what's the best one?
Shit, that's hard. I'll go with The Surface by Beartooth. It's fucking real good. It's the only one of those albums that's made me cry, so I guess that's probably points in its favor.
Yeah, you know, that probably does.
Actually, have I cried to Betty from Hot Mulligan? I did live, for sure. I mean, it's a song about his fucking cat dying, so, like...
Well, that's unfair.
hits.
Like, that song's just written to make you upset.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, we'll go with the Beartooth.
Nice.
It's real good. Listen to it, people.
Yeah. There were, like I said, there were a lot of good albums this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good albums. Where'd my list go? Here it is. Alright, I'll go back to video games. Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
I heard it's good.
Yeah, it's better than the first one. I have my complaints about it, but they took all of the good stuff about the first one and made it a little bit better. And they took out a lot of the stuff that was like not so good. Like a lot of the some of the missions that like side quest missions that were just super tedious aren't in it. You don't have to 100% all of the fucking challenges to 100% the game. Because like some of those challenges aren't going to be for everybody. So like they make it so you can 100% them and like get like the gold medal for each one. But if you want to just unlock everything, you don't have to. Like you just have to like complete them at least once. Like actually successfully complete them. Which I appreciate because I hated the fucking Taskmaster and spoiler ones in the first game. And some of the side quests like the chasing the pigeons and stuff like that were just like they weren't bad, but they were tedious and kind of like made the game a little less fun. But like they didn't have stuff like that in this one. They didn't even have let me go find all of my fucking backpacks. It was more of a like, oh, there are spider bots, but we're gonna make it real fucking obvious when you're near one. Like the world actually glows a little bit when you're near them. So like it's not like this weird it's not like a hunt on the map because the first game it's just here's all the backpacks on the map, just go find them. This was like all right, here are how many spider bots are in a neighborhood. Like, you're going to find them just naturally for the most part because we're going to make it obvious, especially if it's nighttime. If it's nighttime, you're going to see the dome expanding and glowing rainbow colors, and then you're going to come over and you're going to track it down. And I liked that. Like, that was a better way to do the find things in the world. And then the story. Like, I will say that the climax, like the end of the story didn't hit as hard as the first one did, but the story as a whole was just much better. The biggest complaint is they pushed Miles to the background too much. Like, Miles felt like the better character, but it was still very much a Pete-centric story.
Gotcha.
But it's still it's the only game I 100%ed this year, and one of the only games that, like, I really felt like I needed to, play all the way through. And, like, fairly quickly, too. Like, it's not like one of those games where I put it down after, like, a couple play sessions and, like, went back to it a month later. Like, I played it, like, for a week and a half, I think, with like a couple breaks in between because of just like recording or other stuff, and just had a fucking blast with it. Yeah, Spider-Man 2, worth playing.
Nice. It's there's so many games on my fucking list of games to play.
Yeah,
it's frustrating. I need to check to see if God of War is on sale.
I think it is.
I don't
the
know
first
if PlayStation.
one.
No, I need Ragnarok. I don't know if PlayStation's doing any sort of
no,
winter
actually,
sale or anything.
They have their winter sale going on till I think Saturday maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I am 99% sure Ragnarok is on sale because when I was scrolling it, I saw it, but I already owned it. So it didn't show me like the price; it just said owned already.
$30 or $40 for the PS5 version.
Okay, so like 40% off.
That's less than I'm willing to spend to buy that. So
yeah. I didn't like that one all that much. Like, I never finished it. It was more of the first one, but not in a good way like Spider-Man.
Well, I'm going to put a stipulation on your goals for next year. You can't finish something that you've started this year. You have to start it next.
Yeah, I will finish whatever I feel like it. And technically, I started God of War last year, so...
Exactly. You need to restart it.
That's not how that works.
Yes, you do.
I am not you. I don't feel the need to restart things.
You need to restart.
I will just pick it back up. But, like, I actually don't have any intention of going back to God of War. Like, I wasn't having a good time with it. Like I said, whereas Spider-Man was more of the first game, but done better, I feel like God of War Ragnarok was more of the first game, but not as good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it still looked great. It still handled really well. But there was nothing that made me go, like, I want to do more of this. Mm-hmm. And, like, one day I just kind of, like, I stopped playing it, and I just never felt the desire to go back to it. Whereas, like, even now, I'm just like, it would actually probably be fun to just, like, boot up Spider-Man and swing around New York, stop some crimes, use some silly web powers, fly around, hit those thermal updrafts as you're gliding. Like, that game's just fucking fun to traverse around the city in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rich, do you have a third one?
Oh, boy. Back to me already. Jurassic Park the novel.
Nice.
Reading that for the first time ever, you know what? It's the first time I ever read something and understood the saying that the book was better. Like, and I totally agree with it. Like, I think I love the original Jurassic Park. I mean, not the original. Like, I love the movie, the Jurassic Park movie.
I like how you worded that though. Like I like the original, the movie, not the book that it was based on.
Yeah. But like I absolutely, I think 100% the book is a better story, and it tells a better tale than the movie. Like the movie tells a tale, tells a story, and tells a good story. The book tells a better story.
Yeah,
And
like it's funny. Like while they are the same, like basic concept, I feel like they do tell two different stories. And I kind of like look at them separately because of that.
Pretty much as soon as like the power goes out, the story completely changes, and they are telling two separate stories. And that's where like that's where I'm like, this is where I fell in love with it. I was like, reading up until like they there's a little bit of change here and there up until the midway point, and then once like the dinosaurs start to attack, it's like, oh, this is. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is good. This gets good. This gets really good. This isn't just copy paste, or the movie wasn't just copy paste. They did change it, and it's worth reading. It's 100% worth reading. Even if you've watched the movie a million times, it's worth it.
Yeah, like it's one of those. I think it's a very rare example of the movie is actually really good, which doesn't always happen when you're adapting from a book. But like the book is different enough that you can like both of them and not have either one of them kind of like ruined or overshadowed by the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like the Jurassic Park movie is a fantastic movie for what it is. Like I don't think the novel as a whole, I don't think would work as a movie. Like I think like the changes and the cuts and stuff they made for the movie are really like why the movie works.
That's I totally believe that if they were to cut or to adapt that book into visual media now, it would have to be a series.
Yeah,
it would not work as just a standalone 2-hour movie.
Even if it was just like a limited, like a 6-episode thing, like 6-hour-long episodes, like
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Like there's enough in the book that adapting some of the major plot points from the book that were cut from it entirely, I just don't think would work in the movie at all, unless, like you said, it was like a series.
Yeah.
Or like a limited series, let's say, mini series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good pick though. That was a very good book.
It was.
Drew, do you have a third?
Sure. And this almost is more just a shout out to my cousins who made it. The Philly Special Christmas Special. The Philadelphia Eagles did a second Christmas album, and my cousins, Pete and Marie, who own Unpop Animation over in Philly, got to make a little short movie for it.
Oh, that's cool. Is that's the thing you shared earlier in the month, right?
Yeah, like the full thing came out on Thanksgiving, and then they did a like re-edit version for social media. Came out on December 10th, I think. But yeah, my cousins got to make it. And then there's been a bunch of behind the scenes stuff coming out lately, and the most recent one was just focused on Pop and all the animation that they did. But yeah, also it's just it's a real cute little like Muppets inspired, also like old school like Rankin and Bass stop motion animation movies inspired, and you know, it's fun and silly, and the Eagles.
Yeah, it's good. I watched it. I really
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I remember you sharing it, and I don't know if you mentioned that like you were related to people that made it or not, but that I didn't realize that. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, no, my cousin Pete. I mean, like he's my second cousin or whatever. He's my grandpa's brother's son.
Still,
but you know, he's like 5 years older than me or whatever. But yeah, they made it, and it took them 5 months to make 8.5 minutes.
Man, animation's rough.
It's fucking stop motion, man.
Yeah, like that's even then, like that I feel like that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, that was also them working like 100+ hour weeks apparently, and like basically working nonstop from July to the morning it came out. They were doing the final edits.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Still, that's a cool thing to have like on your resume, though.
Yeah, they were super excited to do it.
Nice. My third, I am going to go with a book also. I'm going to go with the Greenbone Saga. So it's actually 3 books.
Okay.
So
Cheater.
these were
Cheater. You have to use each of them at once.
Then I would
That's
have
one.
too many then.
You gotta pick a top 5.
This is a top. So it's the series as a whole. Because like
Did they all come out? I'm kidding.
I read them all this year. They did not come out this year. But yeah, I talked about these books earlier in the year. There were 3 of them. It was Jade City, Jade Legacy, Jade City, Jade War, and Jade Legacy. And it follows like basically a crime family in a fictional world that is. It's definitely like Cold War era for the most part. So like let's say like 60s through like the 90s. Is kind of like the scope of the series, because by the end of the 3rd book you've kind of crossed over, I want to say like 30-ish years, 30 to 35 years total, from page 1 of Jade City to the final page of Jade Legacy, and you follow like the 3 or 4 core members of the Cole family, kind of as they have to step up and take over leadership roles that like they may or may not have been planning to take over. As like their family goes to war with their like opposing family in their territory. And like the first book is very much like a Godfather, like crime family movie of, responsibility and stepping into roles and trying to come to terms with the people that you are trying to basically like run out of town, essentially, as they are also trying to do the same thing to you. But with superpowers, because they all have like magic and shit. And then as the series progresses, it goes into like this sort of like geopolitical thriller in the second one, where the scope of the book opens up to multiple countries and characters are living in other countries and seeing how like immigrants from their country are treated and live in another country. And how the family sort of integrates itself into both the legitimate business world of these countries as well as like the kind of like underworld of them. And then the final one takes both of the first 2 books, like the themes of both of them, and kind of puts it together, and it becomes this epic family drama. And that's the book that spans the most time. The first book is like 2 years. The second book, I want to say 6 years. And then the last book is like 25 to 30 years. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the one where like you see these characters go from early 20s for the youngest to, well, there are also children that obviously grow up, but like the characters you've been following since book 1, like they start in their early 20s in this book, and then by the end they're in their 50s, let's say, late 40s, early 50s. And some of the other characters are in like their 60s, and seeing them kind of like go through life, they're raising families, but still dealing with like the same war and drama that they were dealing with like their whole lives. It was just, it is one of the best series I've ever read. Like without a doubt. And Rich, I know you said you want to read more. I recommend you read Greenbone Saga.
We'll see, maybe. I got an Amazon gift card, and book-wise, novel, like actual novel and not graphic novel-wise, I'm going to be picking up the 2 Sea of Thieves books, because I've kind of really fallen in love with that.
I didn't know there were books for that.
The movie, I think the game came out first, and then they did books on that, and I've fallen in love with the lore and the world of that, to where like I want to read their books. And I think my Amazon gift card covers both of the books. If
nice.
Not, just like I need like $1 or $2 more. So I'm probably going to be getting those, and I might not read them back to back, but I'm going to read the first one and then maybe read the next one. And they actually have 3 books, and I don't know if I'm going to get the 3rd book. The 3rd one is just like a collection of tales, more so than anything else. But I am definitely probably going to be looking for more book type things to be reading throughout next year, and looking into more book type things throughout. It's possible I'll
throw this out there. I like these books enough that I actually purchased the physical ones for them.
Yep.
So like I own them. I will happily let you borrow them, if you are interested. Even if you just want to like read a couple chapters, see if it clicks for you, and then be like, you know what, this isn't what I want to read, and like that's totally fine.
what I would say is if this happens, I would borrow the first book and I would at least read the first book from beginning to end, and then and decide from there if I want to keep going. Just you guys know me, I don't start something without finishing it. So
yeah. I get that. I don't often drop books either because it's just what does it hurt to finish it? Like, they're thick books though, so like I could understand if you get like 25% into it, and you're just like, this isn't working for me, because like then you're not having a good time, and then that makes you less likely to want to read more.
Yeah.
Or like if you set that goal for yourself where like you want to read X amount throughout the year, if you have one book that you're just forcing yourself to read and you're not enjoying it, that's going to throw you off, and then it's going to make you not want to like catch back up. So like borrow it if you like it, great. I will happily chat with you about it. And if you don't like it, at least that's not for you, and don't bother with the rest of them. Yeah. But yeah, I loved it. I don't know that I necessarily did it justice describing it. Because there's a lot more to it with like the family dynamics and the magic system where it's all jade. Like there's a special type of jade that only grows on this island, and the people from this country are sort of predisposed to be able to use it. If people that aren't native to that country use it, it very regularly causes them like really bad side effects and withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
And like even people that are native can have that happen if they use too much of it. But they get cool powers that they're not superhero powers like right off the bat. They have to actually train and learn how to use them. But like once they're good at it and they have enough jade, it becomes like a very like they can do incredible stuff with it if they're good at it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rich, do you have a fourth?
Yes, number 4. The greatest piece of cinema I watched all year. Godzilla minus fucking. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It blew me away. I loved it. It reinforced my love for Godzilla. Like, and completely, fully knowing and understanding what Godzilla is, and like seeing it come back to its kind of origins in a sense, and it not being Monster Force Godzilla, which I still, not Monster Force, Monsterverse Godzilla, which I still love Monsterverse Godzilla, but Monsterverse Godzilla and Toho Godzilla, 2 different Godzillas, and I enjoy them for 2 different reasons. And just like watching this movie and being just like blown away by some of the effects and things like that they did, and still questioning whether or not certain points were miniatures or not as well, and like, was this just really good CG that made it look like miniatures? Yes, I would say that's good CG making it look like miniatures. Or were these just really good miniatures that make you question whether or not they're actual miniatures? Like, that is just because look, there's just something great about seeing miniatures in a movie. It feels so good to see actual miniatures in a movie. Again, the only thing that's really a bummer about that movie is I don't think Godzilla had any real presence. It was all CG Godzilla. I think it's the first time Toho ever did a full CG Godzilla, but it was such a great...
Oh, so there was no dude in a suit?
As far as I know, as far as I can remember, I don't believe there was a dude in a suit in Godzilla Minus One. I think it was all CG because he moved more of like how you would expect MonsterVerse 2014 Godzilla to move, and not MonsterVerse Kong X Godzilla to move, where he's running. Like he had those same motions of like bending down and roaring, and he wasn't just static and standing straight. Like he was primarily CG. I don't know if there was anybody in a suit.
Okay. I mean, could have been mocapped at the very least.
It could have at least been mocapped, which is still like better. Honestly, in my opinion, better than a suit, because you get that slightly more realistic movement that like a giant bipedal lizard could make. Rather than like, because a guy in a suit is stiff. Like you can only move so much because of how big the suit is. I miss the suits, absolutely, but CG has made its way to where like you don't need the suits, you can do the mocap and get the same effect for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be Godzilla Minus One. It's just God. I thought it was out of theaters. I think it's still in theaters, and I'm thinking of texting my brother to see if he's seen it and see if he wants to go see it. I don't think he's seen it, and I think he would love it.
Yeah, I mean, go see it again if you can, right?
Yeah, I want to.
Drew, do you have a 4?
Nah.
Man, you only had 3 things for 2023?
I lumped a bunch of albums together.
No,
otherwise
I get it.
I could go find more albums that came out this year, because I'm sure there's other ones.
There definitely are other ones. No, I was just giving you a hard time. So I do have a 4th then. It's another book series. It's The Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. I actually just finished the 4th book, like last week or the week before. I started the series back in May or June. May? Let's go with May. They're incredibly long books. I think it's a 4-book series. It's close to 4,000 pages total. And much like Greenbone Saga, it's about a dynasty. And it's in the name, Dandelion Dynasty. But you follow a family. From the point where like the father and mother meet all the way through like children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. And it's just that it's this incredibly detailed world. That it constantly has a conflict going on. Like the first book is full of like rebellion, and then the rebellion leaders basically rebelling against each other. And then like as the series moves on, there's peace, and then that peace is interrupted by invaders from another land. And then those invaders basically take over portions of their country. And there's both this war side of it where the different factions are like at war with each other and trying to defeat the other side. And then there's the sort of slice of life side of it almost, where you see the people that aren't directly involved in the conflict sort of leading their lives still. There's one section in the 3rd book where one of the original main character's children she basically gets involved in a cooking competition that is also a heist like plot. And it's so weird and out of left field, but also perfectly fits into the story and leads into a bunch of stuff later on that you're just like, all of this was done for a reason, and like here is that reason 800 pages later in the next book.
Yeah.
So like it was fantastic. Like so many little threads kind of created and strung out. Some of the best characters, like there are characters that you love from the moment you meet them, and like characters that you start out like, oh, they're great, and then they just devolve into some of the worst fucking people that you could imagine. But they're so well written and realized that like you can't help but admire like just what went into creating that character and how many layers they had. And yeah, like the Dandelion Dynasty is one of those series where I feel like it's not as popular as like some other like Lord of the Rings or like the Robin Hobb stuff or Brandon Sanderson, but like it should be. Like it's just that good of a series and has such a satisfying conclusion that it was just fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't recommend that one for you, Rich.
No.
Honestly, I think you would get bored with it. It's weird. The first book, like the first, say, 300 pages, it's all over the place. You don't really follow any one person very long, and it's just a lot of politics and world building, and like it's not that interesting up front. It's like the back half of that book is where like you start narrowing in on people and really focusing on like what all of that early stuff meant. And I feel like you would just lose interest in that early part because just nothing really happens.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're long. Like I said, like 4 books, it's almost 4,000 pages. Like it's a lot of fucking words to get through. But like such a fantastic world and so much lore and development in there. It's nuts. And the guy who wrote it, Ken Liu, like he's a short story writer. Like he's got a bunch of short story collections and then this gigantic fucking high fantasy epic.
Yeah. So,
like, good on him.
Nice.
Yeah. Rich, do you have a 5th one?
Yeah. I could speak on a 5th one, sort of. The 5th one is kind of more on a personal level about myself in general, and basically more so exploring and being more open about my own personal self, personality, and sexuality and whatnot. And so if you've actually, I've talked about this on Brose. I've actually talked to a bunch of friends and told a bunch of family. But if you've come to my stream as of within the past 2 to 3 months, you might have seen that I've added the LGBTQIA tag on there, and that I've recently more so come out as like pan ace and more understanding of me in general, and something that I felt for a while but never really talked about. And so like this is just a big step for me. And I just want to be like a little bit more open about it. I'm not making a big deal doing a whole big coming out thing or anything like that. I've told the people that I felt like I've needed to tell, and now I'm just living my life again. But it's more of a, you know what? I did a thing, or I admitted a thing in a sense, and
That's a big deal.
so yeah, it's a big deal, and it kind of to me, like it is, but it isn't, because I'm still me. Nothing's changed. It's just now I think I know why I was always too nervous to talk to people, because I had no fucking clue who they were and I wasn't actually attracted.
Yeah, and I don't mean it's a big deal for you to say it. I mean it's a big deal to realize that about yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's like I've opened to some people have asked me like, well, just the general questions like how long have you known, whatever. You don't really talk about it. I've kind of known for at least 5-6 years, but I just never really could put a freaking label on it. And maybe I've known even before then, maybe at least 10 years, but I just wasn't really. I didn't. Again, it's more of like I don't really care, but it's not that I don't care. It's just I just don't really know. There's not really. It's not a big deal. So
It's also it's not a thing you're surrounded by either. So like knowing something like that and knowing how to talk about it like are two different things.
yeah, and that's like the other thing. Like I might have been more open to talk, like, or not open to talking about it, but maybe I would have known when I was in high school. If I were in high school nowadays, because it's more of a wide open talked about thing, and it's just, I guess, maybe more accepted. Whereas back when we were in high school, it was, oh, you're either gay or bi, and that's about it. Where it's like, oh no, there's like a spectrum of all these different things. And so, yeah, it's more of a personal note on me. Like gaming wise and other life events haven't necessarily 100% been that great, but personally, I have done something, I guess, or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying.
Yeah. You've realized a thing about yourself fully.
Yeah.
Which, that's just as important as like a game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually more important. So
It is. A little bit.
I mean, I guess it depends on the game. You did beat your first Monster Hunter this year. Like
I did.
those are probably pretty close if you were to weigh them.
Yeah, they're a little close.
You've been playing Monster Hunter for like 20 years.
Not that long.
And-
You know what? Fuck. When
It's-
did I? It's not been 20 years yet.
But like close to
Close.
it, right?
It's close.
'Cause like mid 2000s, like PSP was like the first ones you played, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
it is celebrating 25 years this year.
Yeah, like you're closing in on 20 years of Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter Freedom Unite released on the PSP in 2008. 2008, I was 19. So
Wow, that was that late?
Yeah.
Okay. So like 15 years.
No, March 27th, 2008. So I was 18 still. But yeah, so give it another 3 years, and then it'll have been 20 years.
Wait, weren't you born in 88?
No. I turned 19 in 2007, so I turned 20 in 2008. So I was
Okay,
19.
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure like you were born in 88, weren't you?
I was going based off. I graduated in 07, and I turned 18. I turned 19 in 07, but I was 18 when I graduated high school. So I was like, oh, in 2008 I was still 18. I'm dumb.
No, you're good. I was just making sure I wasn't getting confused.
No,
But-
yeah.
But Drew, do you have a fifth one?
No, I don't.
That would be really funny if you're like, actually, yes.
Yeah.
Fifth one for me. I'm just like a quick one because I actually haven't finished it. Persona 5 Tactica. I've been like dipping back and forth into that one since I started it last month, and I like it a ton. It's got all the tactics stuff that I really enjoy out of like your Fire Emblems, your Final Fantasy Tactics, plus the Persona 5 characters that I adore. And in a way that like the last one that they did, the Persona 5 Strikers, the Musou game. I liked that for the characters. I fucking hated the game though. Like I don't like that button mashy combat that the Musou games are. But like this takes the characters and the story I love and puts it with an actual gameplay that I really enjoy too, and adds its own twist to things that fits into the Persona gameplay. In just it's such a delightful way.
Yeah.
Like it's not perfect. I like something like this would never be perfect, but it's damn fun, and I'm glad that it's a thing that exists.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess that is our top 5s and top 3s. I'm gonna give Drew a top 5 though, because he did mention 3 albums.
3 albums.
So you got 5 either way.
Do you have? I know we're not, because we're running 2 hours at this point. But like, is there any like major your major letdowns this year, major disappointments this year, or are there any honorable mentions that you want to bring up? Like, one of the reasons I didn't bring up Baldur's Gate is because we also don't have disappointments, and that is in both.
That's that's fair. Like I totally get that.
I can't sit here and say, like, I will say I understand how it won Game of the Year. I understand why people love it so much, but also I have a lot of issues with that game. And so it is both, it is an amazing game, but it is also kind of a disappointment at times. Or a lot.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. Just even in the little bit I've played, like and like what you have said since like you've been playing it, like I see that 100%. Drew, do you have anything?
That fucking bullshit holding call in the Super Bowl. That was terrible.
I forgot that was this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drew didn't. Drew's been fuming about that since fucking
forget.
February.
Never forget. Yeah, no, but yeah, that's about it.
So I guess honorable mentions, I will say, I actually thought Super Mario movie was way better than it had any right to be. Like, I just want to give that credit. Like, that was actually a delightful movie, and I kind of thought it was going to be garbage.
Yeah. I didn't doubt that it was going to be a decent movie, but you're right, it was a lot better than even decent. Like, I thought it was going to be a kids movie, and it was a lot better than even a normal kids movie would be at this time.
Yeah. I think, like, they were leaning in so much on the cast that they got for it that I'm like, they're putting too much emphasis on the voices. Like, this movie is not going to be good. And it ended up actually being, like, really good for, like, what it was.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And I guess, like, negative, I had one a second ago and fucking forgot it. Oh, Spider-Man. Fucking, like, comic books. Like the Amazing Spider-Man comic books are just, they haven't been bad. They've been so fucking inconsistent for, like, the last several years. Like, for every, like, good arc they have, there's, like, 2 ones that are just like, this is bad. Like, why are you guys even fucking doing this? And how did you have such a good arc 2 issues ago and then transition into this?
Yeah.
And it's just a bummer because, like, I do like comic books and I like Spider-Man, and I feel like your main Spider-Man book, Amazing Spider-Man with Pete, is just not good anymore. Or not consistently good. And, like, that's a problem when it's your flagship book. Especially when, like, Marvel has, like, other books that are both, like, spider-related and just, in general, that are leaps and bounds better than it. Like, the Miles book is better than it. The adjectiveless Spider-Man book that they did, while a little messy because it basically launched as an event, it was still cool and, like, still a fun read. And then you had things like Daredevil over the last few years, and the Daredevil run was incredible. Like, the most recent Daredevil run made me like Daredevil.
Nice.
And then you have Spider-Man. It's like, Spider-Man should be the best hero in Marvel, and, like, the story arc they've done since the most recent, like, creative shift has just, it's not been good. And it's a bummer.
Yeah, it sucks. It is.
But it's probably a show.
I have one real quick, more honorable mention that I just didn't think about. Actually getting to play a shitload of Blood on the Clock Tower this year, like, in person, has been really fun.
Nice.
Is that an honorable mention, or do you want to make that your number 4?
That's my number 5.
Okay.
There is no number 4. That's my number 5.
I was gonna say, you can't have an honorable mention if you didn't fill the list.
No, I like it's your number 5. I'm actually going to number these now. So I'm gonna throw the lists into the show notes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 5.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Put a 4 there, but just keep it blank and say, oops,
Nope.
and never fix it.
Nope. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Okay.
And then cool. But yeah, so I guess that we'll do it for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should take.
Cobb, do you want to say again what our book club is in 2 weeks?
Oh right, it's
Because
called like Remember.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
So it's RE/member. It's on Netflix. It's I don't know where it's from, but it's not like it's not an American movie. So it's either Korean or Japanese or Chinese or it's an Asian country movie. I have not looked into it more than it's a time loop movie. I know that much. And it had it didn't have negative reviews. Was about as much as I looked into it. So yeah, in 2 weeks we'll see what that's all about.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate us, review us. Wait, no Stitcher. Stitcher's gone. I still can't get that on my fucking spiel, though.
Google Podcasts is also about to be gone.
It'll be
are they
gone in April?
Are they naming it something different?
No, it's just dying.
Everything's going to YouTube music.
Okay, so it'll be like YouTube podcasts.
Well, I don't know.
No,
It's
I think
integrating
it's
into
just
YouTube music, same as Spotify does podcasting.
I hate that. But yeah, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All those things help a whole bunch. Just search us on whatever you listen to your shit on. Hopefully we show up. If not, send us an email to social@one-quest.com. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. And then, Rich, what does your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/B_walnuts with video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on YouTube as well. You can just find my links at Twitch. Baldur's Gate, Sea of Thieves, and we have, as of this point, which is the 27th, we have 13 subs for the month. If we get 2 more, we'll be doing a retro, a Mario Kart, and a spooky stream next month in January. So if you guys want to play some Mario Kart with me next month, we need to get those 2 more subs.
Excellent. I will throw you my Twitch Prime sub because I don't think I've done that yet.
Nice.
So you're only going to need 1 more sub.
There we go. And I have at least 2 more streams this for the rest of the month / this year. I was going to stream tonight, but I just don't feel like it now.
I can throw that to you while you're not on, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I thought so. God damn it. It was trying to immediately make me watch one of your VODs.
Shouldn't have to. If you go to chat, it'll just be blanked out.
Well, no. So I just went to your profile and it immediately starts playing like your last VOD.
No.
Because you're not live right now, so it's like, well, you're not live, but here is the most recent video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just threw you my Twitch Prime, so...
Awesome, we just need 1 more.
Yeah. And you know what? If you have Twitch Prime out there and you haven't used it yet, throw it to Richie. Like, it's free, it doesn't cost you any dollars, and you probably forgot you had it.
True.
Anyway, with that all said, we will be back next week with something else to listen or talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.